Why Chelsea must buy this player to dominate the Premier League. Chelsea has splashed over $300 million, signing over 30 professional players, including more than 10 forwards, but somehow they still haven't solved their biggest problem. We'll look at what's holding Chelsea back and reveal the perfect player who could finally bring it all together. But before we do that, did you know that Chelsea created over 87 big chances in the Premier League, but only managed to score 38 goals? Clearly, something's not clicking in front of the goal. That's about to change. It's an exciting time at Stamford Bridge. We've seen some fresh faces come in, and some of these new faces look like they are set on taking Chelsea back to the top of the Premier League. Players like Tosin Adarabioyo, Renato Vega, Marc Guéhi, João Felix, Pedro Neto are set on taking Chelsea back to the top of the Premier League. On paper, Chelsea has one of the best attacks in the Premier League, with players like Pedro Neto, who has been a standout player at Wolves. Despite suffering from injuries, when he's fit, Neto is one of the most electrifying wingers in the Premier League. His blistering pace, ability to take on defenders, and knack for cutting inside to create scoring opportunities make him a constant threat. At Wolves, he was often the go-to guy for sparking attacks, whether through his dribbling or precise crosses. Now at Chelsea, he can add that same dynamism to the flanks, giving them a direct threat that can stretch defences and open up space for another attackers. And they have João Felix. After a mixed spell at Atletico Madrid, where Felix showcased glimpses of his brilliance during his previous loan spell at Chelsea, his ability to find space in tight areas, thread those killer passes, and link up play between midfield and attack is exactly what Chelsea needs to unlock stubborn defences. At Atletico, he was often played out of position, but in the right system, his talent is undeniable, and now being back at Chelsea, with a team more suited to his style, Felix can truly shine and become a key playmaker. Chelsea also has Cole Palmer, the young star who took the world by storm last season, scoring 25 goals and assisting 15 times in over 45 games. The PFA Young Player of the Year, who stormed the world in his breakout season, doesn't look like he's going to stop this season. And together with Neto and Felix, brings a blend of pace, creativity, and technical brilliance that can take Chelsea's attack to the next level. The return of Romeo Lavia and Nkunku, players who had injuries last season, who have now returned and are both ready to play for the Blues, is of great benefit to Chelsea. Lavia brings a different presence in the midfield by adding a layer of control and dynamism that Chelsea's been missing. He's the only midfielder in Chelsea who has a good defensive instinct to break up opposition play and the vision to kickstart attacks. He's the perfect partner to complement Enzo Fernandez in the middle. With Lavia back, Chelsea's midfield will be much harder to break down, giving the team a solid foundation to build on. Nkunku also brings creativity and flair, which can make him a nightmare for defenders. Whether playing as a second striker or attacking midfielder, Nkunku brings goals, assists, and that extra bit of unpredictability Chelsea needs to unlock stubborn defences. And with the pairing of Levi Colwill and Wesley Fofana at the back, Chelsea seems to have a strong core defensively. Colwill's composure and Fofana's athleticism give them a solid foundation at the back, making it tough for opponents to take advantage of their back line, like they did last season. But as good as all these players are, there's still one piece missing to complete this puzzle. But before we complete this puzzle, please can you do us a favour by pressing the subscribe button? It takes a lot to produce this kind of content, and your subscription would be of great motivation to us to keep making these videos. Thank you. Now, let's complete the puzzle. They've got the creativity, they've got the pace, and they've got the talent. But there's still one glaring issue that keeps popping up like that one annoying ad you can't skip on YouTube. They still don't have a proper striker. I know. Everyone's been hyping up Nicholas Jackson to do better this season. And don't get me wrong, he's got some serious potential. Would that be enough to take Chelsea to a title contender? Jackson is not that bad. He possesses a lot of good qualities to be a striker. The guy is quick, he's got great movement, and he can press from the front. And he is exactly what Chelsea needs in this high-tempo Premier League, but maybe as a second striker. He has also shown flashes of brilliance with his link-up play and can be a nightmare for defenders when he's on his game. But here's the thing, Jackson is still a bit raw. His finishing isn't as clinical as Chelsea needs it to be, and in the Premier League, those missed chances can cost them big time. In the game against Manchester City, he made some good runs, but couldn't finish them. This is not a striker that Chelsea needs. They need a prolific scorer. Now here's where things get a little interesting. Jackson has one of the highest expected goals, XG rates in the league, but still falls short in actual goals scored. It's frustrating, right? He's getting into great positions, but just not converting enough of them. The game against Manchester City showed how important it is to have a prolific goal scorer like Haaland. Haaland got one opportunity and he made good use of it, while Jackson also got that one moment and he missed. So, what's the solution? Well, they need a striker who fits Enzo Marquez's system perfectly. Someone who can not only press high and move well off the ball, but also finish with ruthless efficiency. And that brings us to a certain someone, Victor Osimhen. But before we look at Osimhen and his qualities, let's take a look at how Enzo Marquez used his striker at Leicester City. Remember how 36-year-old Jamie Vardy thrived under Maresca, having over 21 goal contributions at Leicester? Vardy wasn't just a typical goal poacher, he was a relentless presser and was always looking to run in behind defences. His ability to stretch the opposition, open up space for his teammates, and still finish clinically made him a nightmare for defenders. Maresca's system thrives on this type of striker, one who can combine pace, intelligence, and finishing ability. This is exactly what Chelsea needs. A striker who can be the focal point of their attack, someone who can bring that intensity and versatility that Maresca's system demands. And who better to fit this mould than Victor Osimhen? Chelsea fans, it's time to get excited because we're about to talk about the one player who could be the game changer for Chelsea. Osimhen is an absolute beast, and I'm not just saying that. Take a look at him. The guy is 6'1" of pure power and pace, with the kind of athleticism that makes defenders wish they had called in sick. At Napoli, Osimhen has been a nightmare for Serie A defences, racking up 76 goals and 18 assists in 133 games. That's not just good, that's elite. But what makes him so good for the Chelsea? Well, first off, his pressing game is insane. This guy doesn't wait around for the ball to come to him, he hunts it down like a predator. And in Maresca's high-tempo aggressive style, he'd be a nightmare for Premier League defenders. Having a 43.59 defensive duel won percentage is quite good, and much higher than a player like Haaland. Then, there's his blistering pace. Osimhen is lightning fast, always ready to make those runs in behind that stretch defences to their breaking point. Running at a speed of over 36 kilometers an hour, he would be a threat to slow defenders in the Premier League. And with his physical presence, he would be a feared player in the league. We're talking about a guy who can outmuscle most defenders in the league, and with his 6'1" frame of pure power and aerial dominance, he will be perfect for all those crosses James and Dewsbury Hall loves to whip in. And the best part of it all is that he can drop deep, link up play, and get others involved, making him the perfect option for Enzo Maresca. But they know that he has all these qualities, so why have they not bought him? You see, Napoli bought him for over $72 million, and they are refusing to sell him for less. But with Lukaku moving to Napoli, Enzo Maresca has to tell Boli exactly what Mourinho told Abramovich when he wanted to sign Didier Drogba.
Mr. Abramovich, pay and don't speak.
Victor Osimhen could very well be the next Didier Drogba. Remember back in the 2013-14 when Chelsea desperately needed a top striker? They turned to Drogba, the Ivorian powerhouse who had it all: strength, speed, clinical finishing, and the ability to shine in the biggest moments. Osimhen shares those same qualities, making him a potential heir to Drogba's legacy. Drogba was known for stepping up in the biggest moments, whether it was a crucial league match or a Champions League final. Osimhen has that same ice-cold mentality. He thrives under pressure, and that's exactly the kind of player Chelsea needs to get back to the top. In a Chelsea shirt, Osimhen wouldn't just be another striker. He'd be the focal point of the attack, the player that everything else revolves around. And with the creative talents of Pedro Neto, João Felix, and Cole Palmer feeding him, The possibilities are endless. So, Chelsea, if you want to dominate the Premier League, Victor Osimhen is your guy. He's the missing piece of the puzzle. The striker who can turn this promising squad into a genuine title contender. And if they can pull this off, get ready to see Stamford Bridge rocking like it hasn't in years. But who do you think Chelsea should sign as their main striker? Or should they stick with Jackson? Thank you for watching this video. You can check out our latest video to understand why England's golden generations failed.